months.
Test, test. Alright. You guys can hear me? Can you guys hear the soundboard?
Oh dear.
Assume so. Grumpy Stillskin, thank you so much for the 13 months, bro. And welcome back, everybody. Heathen History, Precision on YouTube. Zombie, Thunder God, Grumpy, of course, is in a shaft.
And you beat the geese.
Somebody's gonna send me money, oh boy!
Dragonese living out of a suitcase for 25 months.
Rough.
Living out of a suitcase for 2 months.
Rough.
Rough indeed.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you, bro.
And you beat the geese.
Somebody's gonna send me money, oh boy!
Oh dear.
Wood 69 just resubscribed for 4 months.
Dragonese, thank you for the 25 months, actually. 24 months, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. You've got sharp eyes and beautiful earlobes.
And you beat the geese.
Somebody's gonna send me money, oh boy!
Oh dear.
Unchar 7 subscribed for 24 months. Unchar 7 smile.
Finish off with the 24 months, thank you, man.
I'm a scientist. I'm a scientist.
Archaeology is completely different. Archaeology is science.
Yeah, it's just the music. I'll be loud, I want some music stuff.
And you've been to Giza, though?
No, I've never been to Giza.
Oh dear. ST, I'm back.
What money? Somebody's gonna send me money, oh boy!
You can almost hear the snorts of derision.
Uncharted X
on YouTube.
Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? Good to see you guys back here. It's good to be back. It's been a minute. We've got some. How do we skip these? Skip. I think we did these already. Thank you guys for the support and the subs and all that stuff. I appreciate it. It's been a while, like 2 months. Yes, living out of a suitcase for 2 months is pretty much been what's happening. So I'm glad to be home. Man, it was a long trip. I don't ever want to do a trip that long again, to be honest. It's fun and all, but I don't ever want to be away for 2 months like that. It's just too much. So, been to Giza many times in your dreams. Yeah. Yeah, it was, oh God. Let's see, I left, I mean, it was the start of March, more or less. I mean, just about. So we did quite a long time in Egypt, and we didn't actually go, I think it was April 8th or 9th when we left for Turkey. And then we pretty much just did, it was pretty much bang on 2 weeks in Turkey at the end. It's about 5 weeks in Egypt. It just, some unfortunate, it's not unfortunate, but some circumstances played out that way. That's what the story was. Let's dive in, shall we? Let me just clean up my desktop a wee bit first, particularly that. We shall pull up some work. I've actually been editing a little bit, so let me flip over here. Where are we? Boom. And it always replays the alerts for some reason, but never mind. So, get a pocket dimension and keep your house to be trapped. Seriously, yeah, that'd be great. Something like little quantum house. That'd be pretty epic, wouldn't it? But yeah, so we went to. Let's see. Scroll down here. 2025. So on Egypt and Turkey. So we did quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, wow. I turned up with the tour started pretty much straight away in Egypt. It was a great tour. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think everybody really enjoyed it. And then we did a Red Sea extension. We did this. We planned this one because we've been doing it the last few years. Like after the tour, the 2 weeks, we go off to the Sharm el Sheikh and spend a couple weeks, or not a couple weeks, but 7 or 8 days, just hanging out on the beach, relaxing, do a bit of diving, just chill, because it's for me at least the tours are pretty intense. They're busy. It sort of burns your social media out a little bit for me anyway, and of course people that just attend can take days off and relax and stuff like that, but. We're always pretty much on and doing everything and organizing and running around and just really talking to people the whole time, which is what I'm there for, and I'm happy to do it. But it's nice to kind of go and chill for a few days after that. And this time we opened that up to people on the tour. So we had 7 or 8 people come with us. It was great. Again, Yusuf got certified to dive. Let's see, post-trip Sharm. Yeah, it's all diving pictures. You actually got Yusuf. Where is he? Here he is. That's me and hanging on to Yusuf underwater after he got certified to dive. So we had 2 or 3 people, I think, went and got certified with him. So he loved it. He did really well too, to be honest. This is actually some pretty cool. Let's go. Some pretty cool diving in the Red Sea here. Sorry about the shaky camera work. Kyle. We're going to put all our footage together, but we did this and we had to, so what happened originally was I was originally booked to be on this conference, the metaphysical conference or whatever it is, that was in Cairo, and then they managed to sell about 20 tickets to it, and then I unceremoniously, along with Yusuf and the Snake Bros, got dropped from it because they're like, we can't afford you. And however, the problem with that was that we had already, basically we booked all these tours around that stupid conference. So we'd already, the Turkey tours booked in, we had time, we were specifically going to go, stay after the tour and after the Red Sea extension, then we were going to do this conference, and then we were going to go to Turkey. So, but you end up, because we get bounced at the last minute from this conference, which I'm not particularly happy about, I mean, I should have signed a contract or something. I just took that person at their word, which was a mistake. But we just end up, it screws us because we end up having to stay in Egypt. So it's another like week after that. So we thought, well, hell with it. We'll go and do some stuff. So we went up to Alexandria. We went to Dahab for a few days, and there's actually some really cool stuff we saw out in Dahab. Out in the desert. We did some more diving, but we actually went out to what there's like a Neolithic settlement out here in Dahab that is pretty much one of the oldest known sort of structures out here. We mic'd up and went and walked around and looked at this place. Probably the subject of a video coming sooner or later on the channel. But these are like these little, it's obviously Neolithic and primitive, but this is ancient settlement that's way out in the desert, on the eastern desert. Spectacular landscape. In fact, we went out and did a whole bunch more exploring just to some of the natural features that were out there in the desert, which were actually pretty cool. We're out there like in their Land Rover cruising around. And then like some of these, like just this, what they call a drill hole. It's like this air, the air and the wind had drilled through this like sandstone hill. And, there's actually people had been riding out here and stuff for years, and none of this is manufactured. It was just a really cool little spot. Like, it's howling bloody wind. Where's Yusuf out here walking in the desert? So, yeah. You missed the SAR. No, we'll get into that. We'll get into the SAR scan discussion. In fact, if you guys listen to my podcast, I already have put my thoughts out on it on the podcast, so the audio podcast, the Uncharted X podcast. And in fact, I'm working on that video now where I talk about the SAR scan discussion. So we haven't got into the rest of it yet. Anyway, so yeah, the desert was cool. Had a bunch of seafood. We hung out in Dahab. Then we went to Alexandria, which I'd never been to before. And we also did some diving in Alexandria. And in Alexandria, we dived on the lighthouse. Let me turn down the old Kyle singing for a minute. This is the old $50 Dynasty. And great to see you guys again. Cheers, Christopher. You got your yearly tans in one go. Yeah, pretty much. Diving without air-filled pigskins. Yeah, I know. Yes, there is. So we went down and you can see how it was really murky, but also really cool. Like, this was a lot of fun. It was a very shallow dive, like maybe 7 or 8 meters at maximum. But so yeah, I forget the name of it, but so you see these big granite blocks and columns and stuff laying in the water. And you can hear me. I'm going, holy shit, when I came over to this. This is like a fluted column. You can see the shape of that column with the lotus flowers around it. So big granite pieces like this. This is all like basically where the lighthouse was, and it's probably I think it was an earthquake, and the land. It's not like it was there before the sea level rose. I believe this is well known that it slipped under with an earthquake, like the ground actually sank, and there were earthquakes that caused some of this stuff to fall in the water. It's just tons of it though. It was just really cool to dive on these sort of wrecks. You can't actually dive at Heraklion, which is the underwater city. That's still an active archaeological site. So we were trying to figure out how to do it, but you can't do it, and it's just archaeologists only at this point. But this was fun. This is on the Mediterranean. So prior to that, we were diving in the Red Sea. This was a little colder. We all got pretty cold after 2 dives. I was in a shorty. My wetsuit's a shorty wetsuit. I just have a Stinger skin suit on under that. By the time this, because it's shallow, you can stay down for like easily an hour. But I think after 35-40 minutes, we were all just cold and called it quits after the second dive. And as you can see, the visibility's not exactly fantastic, but it made for some very eerie, just interesting diving. Like I really enjoyed this. I've done a lot of diving, and but I never dived on anything quite like this. At what point does it become part of the ecosystem and they're not allowed to pull anything out, or it's just per country? You're talking about the ruins? I mean, they're still pulling stuff. There's tons of stuff they pull out. You go to all the museums around Alexandria, like all of this stuff, like all of these things were recovered from the water. Like you go into like the Alexandria, some of the museums. There's like a Roman amphitheater museum that's also tons of Egyptian stuff, and a lot of this stuff came out of the water. Like you can see, it's actually eroded from the water. Yeah, of course the Romans had built on top of this, and then this had all filled in over time. So this has all been excavated out. You can see the remnants of old Egyptian columns as well. And there's the Roman columns. So a lot of this has been... And the museum in here was pretty cool. We went and looked at the Alexandria Museum. Took some stupid shots. Where's the... we got... I mean, if you're on the Discord, you'll know, because we got photoshopped to all different ways during this trip, which was great. Where is it? We started taking pictures of just stupidity. Oh, I don't have them here. They must be in the other directory. But yeah, we were. Oh, here we go. This is one of them. So, yeah, this museum was cool. There's actually some of these artifacts were very, very interesting. There was this shield that was just the symbology on it was out of control. We spent probably half an hour looking at this. It's there's just this is like, and I forget where it was. Let's see, was it what's the date on it? Oval shield, 19th century. So it's fairly 1866. So fairly modern, but amazing symbology. And we I think I videoed it and we talked a bunch about it. It was just incredible what was on that shield. So just got your shipment of ammo, 150 pounds of bullets. Very nice, bro. So anyway, yeah, we stuck in Egypt forever. I thought this was a great photo too. And, oh yeah, Pompey's Pillar was impressive. I have more pictures of it, but, I mean, holy crap, talk about a big lump of granite. Like, I'd always wanted to see Pompey's Pillar. And yes, it is quite impressive. Have you seen what's on Ceres and Pluto? No, I have not. What's on Ceres and Pluto? This is a YouTube comment. So, eventually we went to Turkey, and Turkey was also a lot of fun. We got started straight away. We actually got to do a lot of the things that we didn't get to do when we were there a couple of years ago because things like the museum were closed when we were there. Oh, it's covered in ruins. Okay, it's one of those. Look at the pictures, maybe. I don't know. Naughty when he says it. Pompey's Pillar. Yep. Yep, you should see the stupid shit. Actually, I should show you what my friends bought me. Maybe in another stream. They bought me some really dumb shit on this trip. A much smaller group. We had like 20 people. This was the group in the hotel. Pretty much. What was that noise? What is that noise? But we got to go to the Shanliurfa Museum, which is actually a really, really nice museum. And this was closed during the time we were here a couple of years ago, just because of the floods and the earthquake. So that was excellent. And there's indeed some very interesting stuff in here. I got quite a lot of footage, and I've got a lot of notes that I've written down about this, and very much worth seeing. I mean the T-pillar recreation was really cool. It was Ramazan. Yusuf came with us. So Yusuf came to Turkey. He's going to come to South America as well, and Peru. Let's see, what is this? This is eating lunch at the lunch place. And we obviously did go back to Göbekli Tepe. And all the fuss. Oh, so yeah, Jimmy had released his stuff about the time we were there, actually. So the archaeologists were big mad. In fact, they really fucked with us at Karahan when we went there, because he literally talked. I think he dropped a tweet about Karahan and the holes they were digging to put up that structure like the day before we went, and so they were all big mad, and they weren't going to even let us on the site, and they let us on the site, and then they were like, don't film like any of these holes, and then Kyle got caught filming in the hole, and they're like running over and making people delete shit. It was super annoying. Has Yusuf been to South America before? He has, yes. It's bugged, boys. What's bugged? The stream? Let's have a look. No. I mean, stream settings, stream health. It says excellent right now. So, that was interesting. I mean, Göbekli Tepe as well. It's a lot of fun. I mean, they are digging there. Like, there's literally a whole new enclosure going up over the top of digs. We also went to a couple of the sites that also Jimmy had talked about in his stuff. We went and saw these. I forget the name of them. Sawate and one of the oldest sites. Like this, literally this. It's not. There's not much to see out here. See, it's all covered. It's another Tepe site. But it's Tas Tepe. This one predates Karahan Tepe about 1,500 years. So if you have Göbekli Tepe is like 12,000 years old, you have Karahan Tepe, it's 500 years older than that. And this is like the oldest dates they have. I think these sites are older still, just based on how they've dated them, because of the material that's in these cobblestone walls that were added later. And they were basically repairing the site at that point. But those are the organic dates that they have with carbon-14. So Karahan's 500 years older than Göbekli Tepe, at least the dates they've got, and then this site's about 1,500 years older than that, than Karahan. So did I go to Derinkuyu? I did. Yeah, so that was the other thing we did on this trip that we didn't do the last time that I was really keen on getting out here, which was Cappadocia and Derinkuyu. And Cappadocia itself I see why it's like such a popular region. I mean, it's just this spectacular landscape. Let's see. Look at these little towns and cities with all these eroded sandstone hills, and then it's backed by these big old snow-capped mountains. Derinkuyu was I would call it underwhelming. So this is like one of the towns in Cappadocia. It was crowded. They've closed off maybe 90% of it. You basically can go down to the bottom levels, and then you pretty much there's not much to see. If we go back. There is dozens of these sites like Derinkuyu. So this is going into Derinkuyu. Of course, we had a local guide who just gives you the local guide story, we kind of were making fun of that the whole time. I don't know. It was. I mean, obviously, it's nothing advanced in terms of technology, but what's interesting about this is it's the lower levels it's the lower levels that open up the most, and it's the lower levels where you have the interconnecting passages, and they know that some of these cities are connected to each other by 6-7 kilometers distance in tunnels, and then there's rumors of them being connected more than 20 kilometers, and all of them being connected together down in across this region, and sort of ultimately being able to house hundreds of thousands of people, and all of these cities tied together. So the next time we go, I already talked to Ramazan, our guy in Turkey who's in the government, the tourism department, about what we would rather do is, instead of going to Derinkuyu, let's try and get special permission to go into some of the ones that aren't open to the public or that aren't often visited, because there's ones like the same size as Derinkuyu. They have lights in this one. It's set up for tourism, so you can just go down there. You don't need torches and flashlights and stuff. Versus, I would be quite happy if we just prepared ourselves and, all right, guys, we're going into one that you need, you need a headlamp, you need a backup light. We're going down and, follow a piece of string or something like that. Impressive thing is the planning of the digging to keep everything structural. I agree. Yeah, there's a lot that's impressive about it. Just the actual site visit itself, though, was the fact that they've just concreted over so many of these walls. Like, you can see, this passage used to go over here, and now it's just all concreted over. So that it's literally like 5% of it is open, something like that. You can't see much of it at all. You go down, and it's still 100 and... What'd they say? Is it like 8 levels, like 150 meters down? something like that. Like it's quite a, like 400 feet down into the ground, 8-9 levels of place. And then there's one part of it, like the actual, there's quite a long staircase that you do go through at one point. And then maybe this is it here. So this is an example. Like this is a wall that's been concreted over. Like it was, or not a wall. It's a doorway that they've concreted shut. So. Shit, you saw ancient ruins just standing in that country? Yeah, Turkey's incredible. You're right about that. There are ruins everywhere in Turkey.
And you've been to Giza.
Somebody's gonna send me money, old boy!
Oh dear.
Hugh Bragg Stream subscribed for 24 months. Hooray Stream.
Hooray Stream.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you, brother. And thank you for the 24 months. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm back. I wasn't able. I did do a stream while I was gone. I did the Karnak live stream. It actually worked out pretty well, apart from me fucking up with the volume. But I've since been fixing that, and I'm going to re-upload it with fixed volume in post, So we'll do that. And then, yeah, we actually, one of the very generous people on this tour basically took the whole group out to a friend's place who runs this super fancy restaurant and paid for everybody to have a very nice dinner and a lot of wine at a very nice restaurant. I mean, it would have cost her a bomb, but she was. It was very generous of her to do this, and we had a very, very nice meal while we were in Turkey. Much higher quality than the stuff. I mean, we're feeding people, but it's not exactly like fine dining. But this was. It was really good, and then probably the coolest thing that. In fact, I should dig up the. Let me pull this up. Hang on a second. Let me just do this. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Let me grab this because I want to show you some drone shots of some of these cart ruts. So we went to okay, I don't need me looking at it. Let's just do. So you started to see them like over here, and this is cart ruts in stone. Like we took us a couple days to figure this where they are, because actually finding these in the Phrygian Valley. So we drove. It was like one day we drove. It was like 7-8 hours to drive to Cappadocia from Şanlıurfa, and we had just 2 nights there. We only went to saw Derinkuyu and then made a few other sort of scenic stops. And then the next day we drove to essentially the Phrygian Valley. And we went to this, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's like they had natural hot springs. So the resort we're at had like there was a hot springs resort. It was so nice, this big pool with this, 41 degrees Celsius water. So, 100 degrees or whatever, Fahrenheit, something like that, maybe a little hotter. Delicious. But they kept trying to make us wear
And you've been to Giza.
Somebody's gonna send me money, old boy!
Oh dear.
Partney just resubscribed for 20 months.
CH Partney, man. Thank you so much for the 20 months, dude.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
How are you, man? Good to see you. And, yeah, so they kept trying to make us wear. She came home and tried to talk us in Turkish or whatever, and she got a phone, came back, and it's like, you must wear a bonnet. Because me and like another guy, Chris, had long hair and our hair's out or whatever. And you must wear a bonnet when you're in the pools. I'm like, well, I'm not wearing a bonnet. You got to like wear a haircut. I'm like, I just ignored them, and they were getting all worked up about it. Eventually, they just leave you alone. You just don't know what you're talking about. I'm not wearing. I just said no. But stupidity like that, it's so weird. But anyway, we're in this town, and the primary reason for going to the Phrygian Valley was to find the cart ruts, but it's hard to. They're not actually. It's not like a tourist site. It's not. They're not really well documented. There's some of the Russian guys that have been out here have sort of dropped GPS locations, but they don't really. You're looking for it on Google Earth, you can't find it. We eventually, after a couple of days of searching around on, this is mostly Russ is doing this. He found them, but then we also found a local guide like Ramazan, at the same time was calling around asking for local guys, and he's like, oh yeah, there's one guy that said he knew where they were. So we got a hold of him, and he took us out there, and as for sure enough, Lots of these cart ruts, and they're insane. Like this was, to be honest, probably the highlight of the trip for me, of the Turkey part anyway. The cart, they're so mysterious. There's problems with every explanation for these. Let me find these archive chats. Where is it? Turkey. So if I scroll up and find Russ's videos, I need to go through these. I really need to go through these Telegram groups and suck down all the images and stuff that people have sent. Well, we can't say. Let me find it here. Here we go. Getting close. Getting close. Warmer. Disco. Okay. So. Yeah, let's here we go. So look at this stuff. Like this is a good example. So this was the first cart rut that we go to, and literally it just look, you see the modern road here. It looks like someone's driving through mud, right? I mean, that's what it is. Same as Malta. I mean, but it's like if this was mud, you'd be like, yeah, someone's been driving through here. But it's stone. It's. I thought it was limestone. There are layers of limestone out here, but this is it's volcanic tuff, which is not typically very tough or very hard, but this is actually quite hard. And the problem is that there's no good explanation for it. So obviously the mainstream explanation for this is, the mainstream explanation, well, it's carts. It's literally carts being dragged back and forth over stone to wear this down, which is nonsense. There are really no. Why does it say Osmo Pocket 3 here? That's weird. There are quarries, but it's like this would take tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, or even millions of passes of carts to wear these sort of these ridges down. And there's so many.
Somebody's gonna send me money, old boy.
Dream Unchar 7 smile for 37 months. Unchar 7 smile.
Hey. AF Dr. AIM, dude. 37 months.
Thank you very much, sir.
Much
You're a
appreciated.
gentleman and a scholar.
So the cart, like the modern in the last sort of 1,000 years explanation for this doesn't make sense. Also because, these aren't cart ruts. Like, look at the width. These are like tire ruts. They're so wide, and there's places where they crisscross over each other. You can see there's multiple ruts. There's even single path ruts. They also seem to have where they turn. It's like there's some debate about whether or not it's just the front wheels turning. Could also be the back wheels turning. Just if you think about the way the tracks a car leaves when it turns, it's turning with its front wheels. The back wheels don't follow the same path as the front wheels. They kind of go out, and you see a little bit of that. There's very sharp sides to these, so that's there's problems with that explanation. The other explanation is, well, they're carved. Somebody's gone here and carved them. It's like, what for? And why would you carve these ruts? Like, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of like somebody carving them. And in fact, let's find, where's my later DJI one? So this is like, here's an example of where they go through. Why are you making that static noise? All right, stopped again, whatever. So you see a couple of places like this where it's like as if it had come all the way down, and you've got these horizontal markings on the side of the walls. Like something's come through here. Like this is really difficult to explain in any other way than something being dragged through here to a point where it's eroded it. And see, it's almost narrow at the bottom, and something's like scraping on the walls. And it's like, okay, if these are manually carved, so let's go through the explanations. The manually carved thing, some people say, was for irrigation. I'm like, well, okay. Doesn't make sense, A, because these things go up and down hills. Like, they literally don't have a consistent gradient to them. They go up, they go down, they go over hills, they go through hills. They're all over the place. B, there's tons of them. Like, why do you need to carve, like, 15? This is actually in a different section. How come you have to carve like 15 different? This is that same section. Here's another area. This is like back at the main area that we were at. You know, how come there's so many of them if they're for irrigation? It just doesn't make any sense. And so then the other explanation is, well, okay, they must have been somebody dragged a cart or something through here when it was soft. For starters, the cart. The other question is, if that happened, where are the animal prints? If this animal or people prints, there's none. Right? You'd think that if there was an oxen or there was something pulling these things and it was made when it was soft, then it would you'd see animal prints, which we don't see any of, or we don't see human footprints either. And then the other problem is that the damn thing was soft, according to the geologists here, was something like 14 million years ago. Was when this tough layer was laid down. So, you're obviously just thick cartwheels, THICC, yeah, right. But if it was soft once, it would deform heavily. Yeah, so it's like, is it ash? Is it? There's just they're fucking mysterious. Is all I can tell you. Like, I don't know how to explain them. Something's going on. But you can see, and they just disappear into the sand in places. So one of the reasons why they're quite well preserved might be that they were actually covered up.
And you've been to Giza.
Somebody's going to send me money, old boy!
Hello everyone's resubscribed for 16 months. Hello everyone's mother.
Hello everyone's mother.
Thank you, Tracy.
Buddy. Thank you for the 16
You've got
months.
sharp eyes and beautiful earlobes.
So, one of the reasons why, and you see in some places they are quite eroded, in other places they're still very sharp. And one of the reasons for this might be the same way that we get, fossilized footprints and things, is that, it may have been covered by sediment. And it's only been in the last couple thousand years that the sediment's been pushed back through whatever regular, erosive or geological processes, and now they're revealed. Because for sure these go into the ground, like in places where there's now dirt and material on top of the rock, the tough layer, and these just disappear into it. And you can see how sharp the edges are here. Of course, you have these in Malta too, right? And the big question about, and I've not seen those yet, I plan to, but one of the big questions about the ones in Malta is they go into the bay. They go across the ocean floor, which, again, wasn't... it's been 15,000 years since that was exposed to the air. Yeah, the channeled blocks and everything is true. Do I play Marvel Rivals at all? No, I haven't played Marvel Rivals. I used to play Overwatch, a lot of COD and Warzone and stuff. Very old carts, clearly. They're very wide. We've never... Carts don't have wheels like this. That's the other thing. Like, they're super parallel. Carts have narrower wheels. Yeah, I mean, there's no sense for them to be carved. So that's what I'm saying. There's
boy!
Fraxnarn. Fraxarn. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. So there's just problems. There's challenges with every possible explanation for these, is what I'm saying. And that's why there's such a mystery. It doesn't matter if you go, well, it was made when it was soft. It's like, well, okay, either the geologists are wrong, or this happened 14 to 15 million years ago. Doesn't seem likely. Maybe, but who knows? Could be. And then any of the more modern explanations for them, either for them being carved or as being the result of carts in the last 4 or 5 millennia, none of that makes sense either. Just practically doesn't do anything. Timmy Bush, $20. Timmy.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Timmy, the $20 on YouTube, man. Thank you so much, dude. Good to see you, Timmy. Timmy joined us in Egypt. In fact, he's joined me on the last couple tours in Egypt. Thank you, buddy. I hope the campaign for your public official seat is going well down there. Is this in Turkey? Yes, this is the Phrygian Valley in Turkey. So you can look at I don't even know if we can search for it. Let's find out. Let's see here. YouTube Brave. What the fuck is this? Just YouTube? Okay. Let's go maps. I don't even know if we'll be able to find them here. So we go cart ruts Phyrigin Valley, Turkey. See if we can see him here. Yeah, it doesn't really fridge. Maybe these are Cartwrights. I don't know. We did so this is generally the area where they are. So yeah, Phrygian Valley is like central Turkey. So if you go, down, where's Syria? So this is Syria. So Şanlıurfa, this is where we were originally. So you're down there near the Syrian border. In fact, in places we were down here, like near you basically see, you can see Syria. And then we drove up to Cappadocia, which is sort of up here in this region. Then we drove over to the Phrygian Valley. And then, so yeah, I think Cappadocia is like here maybe. And then we drove over to the Phrygian Valley. And then you've got Istanbul up here and then Ankara over here. So we ended up from here, we just drove to Ankara and then we flew to Istanbul. Looking at it, we should have just driven back to Istanbul, to be honest. And, yeah. And, of course, you've got Cyprus, Syria, Israel, Lebanon, Egypt. All right, Saudi Arabia. Oh, Surrogacy, man. $13.99 Canadian. Just a little support to you, mate. Cheers.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, dude.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
I appreciate everybody that's supporting the channel and hitting the subs and things. There may be like drug boards, some form of a sled of some kind. That's also an explanation, possibly. What's interesting is how come they're parallel like that? What's your impression about Turkey apart from the archaeological stuff? I like Turkey. I quite enjoy Şanlıurfa, as a matter of fact. It's not, it's like, look at this. It's just beautiful. I mean, Turkey's beautiful too, like green and just classic sort of this, Cappadocia, Phrygian Valley, just, it's spectacular. Like Turkey's one of those places, and there's just ruins and stuff everywhere. And I didn't really get a lot of pictures of just daily life type of stuff here, but I did on the when was here 2023 Turkey, Şanlıurfa. So we go and this is like this is a couple of years back. This was after the earthquakes and everything, but we go cruising through the bazaar. So for example, my cajon broke. The luggage handler has finally defeated my cajon, and we went out on the boat trip and we were playing, and I was like, damn it, like I pulled it out of the box, out of the case that it's in, and like it's just like came apart. And I'm like, fuck. So I kind of like straightened the little studs and I put it together and leaned it up again. I managed to play it that day, but then I took it into the bazaar. Actually, I probably do have footage of that. Where is that? It was Helfeti. Oh yeah, so I took it into the bazaar, and it's like, because this had cracked all the way through, so he's like clearing out the crack and then gluing it up again. And then just like, yeah, he's just hammering. It's now a metal cajon because it's got all these nails in it now. So it was, and yeah, this is just, we literally got this done in 10 minutes in the bazaar, and it was cool. I think I even in the last one I probably panned around a little bit here. Yeah. So it's just like one of these little stalls in the bazaar at the end of the day, in the woodworking area. Like there's literally dudes with forges that are doing like they're forging stuff in the what is this? Oh, this was Sol. Oh no, I have a much bigger drum. Oh, I'm sorry. They're just dicking around on the bus. Carl's trying to play guitar on the phone. It's just stupidity. That sort of stuff. I mean, it was awesome. I like Turkey. What can I tell you? I've not spent a lot of time. Say this. I've not spent much time in Istanbul, all the touristy areas, but Şanlıurfa. For some reason, it's just I found it's like it's not tourist. It is quite conservative. These are the bazaars, and it's just a beautiful area. they're not used to seeing a lot of tourists. So, you get stares and stuff, but no one's hassling you, no one's bothering you. I mean, like I said, it's just this beautiful area. The people are a little... it's not like Egypt. Egypt, particularly in the touristy areas, you guys are trying to hassle you and scam you and carry on all that sort of stuff. So, anyway, that's my perspective on Turkey. I tell you what, I was completely, thoroughly sick of kebab by the end of the trip. And between Turkey and this was the early trip. Yeah, this was 2023. So yeah, I was man, I ate a lot of pork and bacon when I got home. Egypt is a pain as a Western tourist. It can be. I just know how to run Egypt now. You know what I mean? Like I can navigate all of that stuff pretty well. I've just spent a lot of time there. But I understand as a regular Western tourist, if you've not been there before, it would be quite difficult and can be quite irritating. So, anyway, we did... do I have Kyle's stuff in here? I don't think I do. Yeah, I do. All right. Yeah, so Kyle took some great video. We're in the process of we share all of our media together. This must be Elephantine Island. That's that damn cat at Elephantine Island for sure.
I want to go to the Midden site this time too. Yep.
And we didn't go to the Midden site that time. Anyway. Cursed out and overly pushy camel guy more than once? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the camel guys are annoying. It's just the way it is. Let's see, we did do some jamming. We definitely did that. I don't know if this was the one that I wanted to play. Are the other musical scales in the Phrygian... What? Are the other musical scales in the Phrygian Valley illegal? What are you talking about? Is that like a musician joke? I'm a drummer. I don't know what scales are. Blender, like turkey on sandwiches. Blender on any of the turns, you have to expect the height of the crest. Yeah, so we did scan. We've got scans of them. There was a lot of drone footage taken of them. Actually, where was this? I know there was some cool footage from the side of the Jeep at one point here.
Hey.
Hey. Giving kids a ride. Yeah. Is this it here? Yeah, this was pretty, like, the fog came into the desert. This was out in the eastern desert. Just lose visibility. So we got a lot of that done, and I am in the middle of, and so now I want to talk about the other thing, which is the Kafre scans. It's pretty weird, like sandstorms coming in. We just had these like howling sandstorm situations. Let's see. I know where's my post-trip geezer. So I got some really nice little time lapses from where we were. We spent a couple nights here. This is from the Mamluk, which is one of my favorite little hotels, and it's where I stay outside of the tours. And so we did sit down and record a podcast about. In particular, we wanted to talk about the Kafre scan details, right? So it's obviously this is what they say is like way down and underneath this middle pyramid. And we'd done a bit of research on it, and so I'd kind of say that the best, if you want my thoughts on it in detail, like I said, the audio podcast is out. It's also on my website. You can go to the podcast page and just listen to it there. But we did record the video for it as well, so I'm in the middle of kind of trying to edit that together. The Phrygian scale is what mostly makes up the Middle Eastern Egyptian musical sound. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what they play. I mean, we trying to get used to trying to play some of that with the lads. We do a bit of jamming with the Egyptian crowd. So yeah, so we sat down and did a chat, and I'm in the middle of editing this, and so I don't know. I can summarize my thoughts on it. My thoughts are, and maybe it's best done with a little bit of background information. So I was initially quite skeptical. Very skeptical, in fact. And so yeah, here's like we have, this is available. This is just the Kafre scans and Vase news. So, and again, the video on YouTube's coming out soon, but the audio podcast is already up. So my basic problem is how do you go from this to this, right? No one understands this, and there's, it's not like, and this is so far fetched. There's so many problems with it. I mean, so I was originally very skeptical, but then I did actually talk to some experts that really can understand the SAR technique and this Doppler effect and combination of, SAR and seismic data. Now, the technology itself seems to have some promise. And the problem here is that this seems, it's really an unknown as to how they go from the results to what they're showing. And there's all sorts of problems with this idea, right? That, like, you get to about here and it's water. And like this would have all been collapsed in, is full of water and probably full of sediment. And you probably at this point also, you're talking about a kilometer deep. Like, these are 600 meters, right? This is huge. This is, you probably through the limestone layer at that point. Like sedimentary limestone, like ancient seabeds and stuff, probably only goes down. I mean, it can't be that deep. So you're probably getting into granite and the igneous rock layers that are below, typically below sedimentary layers. And again, you're well and truly within the water table here. And who knows how much water's in this stuff, if it's even here, and how much it's collapsed or whatever. My other problems with it is, like, they say they have a 1 meter resolution. So how are you showing, or how are you determining that these are like such a sort of an accurate spiral staircase? Again, this is what you're looking at to start with, and it's quite far fetched to then, you trying to get to like a, where is it, like this shit, like this, and so here's another problem. Well, so I said a few things. One of them is why not use this? Here we go. This one here. Why not use this on a mine? So there's got to be mines. There are mines that are a kilometer deep, and they have passages going off them and voids. So test it against the known structure of a mine, and show us those test results. They say that they've done it, but it doesn't. I don't believe they have. And maybe, and one of the other problems is that, it talks about the fact that you almost need a pyramid on top somehow to see below it, like, which is just iffy to me. The other part is that they've scanned this pyramid. This is the Khafra pyramid, so these are these giant tubes, and then they say, well, there's 5 king's chamber structures inside this pyramid. Well, they've actually used the muon detection technique, which we know works because, they used it to figure out this passage exists in the Great Pyramid. They've discovered the big void, this small void. They've plumbed this. I wouldn't be surprised if they've stuck an endoscope into the big void at this point, and they just haven't shared that data or what the hell they found in there, if anything. I don't know if we'll ever find out. But we know that muon detection technique works, right? It's pretty well verified. They've used that on this pyramid. They set up muon they've scanned it from the sides, so you're seeing stuff coming in from the sides when your detector's out here on the ground. They've also put it in at the bottom, so you have a V-shape sort of aperture looking up from the chambers in the just in the bedrock beneath the pyramid, the existing chambers, which I presume are these light purple colors, right? So this is the yeah. So this is the north side, I guess. So this is this purple line here is the entrance that you go into today. Then there's another entrance that is like halfway up well, not halfway, but a little way up the pyramid. And then where these chambers do meet, there is quite a big void there, that's shown here. And then you have a vertical passage, and then I assume somewhere here is like underneath the center is the focal chamber. And I know they'd set up, and then there's another chamber. I don't know if this even shows it. I don't see it on here, but along this passageway, there's another chamber that goes down deeper. It's like another chamber that shoots off the edge here. It's not even shown on this. And they set up their muon detectors in there, and they scanned up through here, and they found nothing. Luke Caverns has seen what? There is nothing. Yeah. The Chicanas that they've known have existed forever in Cusco. Yeah. No, they found it. I mean, they basically confirmed that they were there, even though everybody already knew they were there with the radars, with the ground penetrating radar. And then I mean, they've been exploring them. Pictures of the big void. He's seen them, has he? All right. I'm assuming he's trying to make as much clickbait as possible out of that. Is he sharing them, or is he just saying that he's seen them? Anyway, this muon detection technique didn't show any of these things, right? And these are giant, big voids, right? This is like a king's chamber, it's quite a big space, and that muon detection technique could find the small spaces, like the thing we just saw, you know. And then if you go back to, where is it? Let me find it. Christ, I don't even know where I put it. Let me just do a search here. Star.pdf. Khafre. Star Khafre PDF. Let me do some searching here. No, Khufu Ben. UFU. Khufu. Or just scan. Maybe just scan. Anyway. Yeah, they said other things which I thought were a little iffy. So if you go back to 2022, this is so 1st of August 2022, right on the side here. You can why? All right, fine. Start up PDF. You can find that they did this same technique on the Great Pyramid, and this is what they say. It's a problem with synthetic aperture radar is that due to the poor penetrating action of electromagnetic waves inside solid bodies, the capability to observe inside distributed targets is precluded. Under these conditions, imaging action is provided only on the surface of distributed targets. So synthetic aperture radar is just surface, right? The present work describes an imaging method based on the analysis of micro movements on the Khnum Khufu Pyramid, the Great Pyramid, which are usually generated by background seismic waves. The results obtained proved to be very promising as high-resolution full 3D tomographic imaging of the pyramid's interior and subsurface was achieved. Khnum Khufu becomes transparent like a crystal when observed in the micro-movement domain. Based on this novelty, like new thing, we have completely reconstructed internal objects, observing and measuring structures that have never been discovered before. The experimental results are estimated by processing series of SAR images from the second-generation Italian Cosmos SkyMed satellite system, demonstrating the effectiveness of the proposed method. So, yeah, I mean, look at this shit. Like the Pyramid of Khufu, known as the Great Pyramid at Giza or Cheops, is the oldest and largest of the three main pyramids that are part of the necropolis of Giza. The infrastructure is built with blocks of granite weighing approximately 2.5 tons each. No, they're not. They're limestone. 2.5 million blocks. It's actually 3.5. I think 2.5 is right. Anyway, So they say stuff like that, which is just like resonates like transparent like a crystal. It's made of granite. No, it's not. I actually have this paper here. Where is it? I gotta find it. I have so many PDFs, so many different papers and stuff. Finding them is proving to be a challenge. I'll find it. Maybe I'll find it. Come on. Where are you? SAR, Bondi, et al. Great Pyramid Structure. Okay, got it. So yeah, this is it here. So, where is it? 20, of course, just randomly in that directory. Relation to English, Italian to English may be to blame, but what, the granite? Granite and limestone? I feel like that's being pithy with this. Did you do the Cappadocian balloons like a tourist? No. I didn't, but some people did. SAR is a legit technology used in muting and spy satellite. Yes, SAR is surface aperture radar. Yes, it's a surface imaging technique. Like that's what it does. And yes, I know SAR is a thing, but the difference is now they're saying, well, so in this first paper they say, well, we can now look at the pyramid and see what's in it, and then they somehow jump to like, well, now we can see kilometers into the ground beneath it. Right, you start to see like there's some stretching, and then just even in this, like this, look. So here's the problem with this too. It's just we don't know, and this isn't less of a problem, more of these unknowns. And like when you're making these sort of claims, it's tough to just leave stuff to the unknown. So this is what they say is in the Great Pyramid. Now there does seem to be the black part here is like the internal structure, right? But we don't know if this has been imaged using their technique, or if it has they've just put that on this map and said, well, here's the established stuff, and then we're just going to say, well, here's all the other shit our synthetic aperture radar Doppler seismic technique came up, which is what this is showing. So no big void, no little void for that matter, and it's showing these giant ramps with steps, staircases. Actually, I guess this could be the big void, this big rectangular box, although it's not quite right, at least according to the other scans. And it's got like, there's these junctions that are running around. I don't know. He was shown them by an Egyptologist, he says. Okay. Is there a 3D map of the Giza Plateau that includes the large shafts and tunnels off of them? What do you mean? There's definitely 3D maps of the Giza Plateau, but it's mostly just with the known structures. Lots of people hate Luke. I'm friends with Luke. I mean, he's a was he either a millennial or a Gen Z or something? They just communicate differently than I do with the social media stuff. He's definitely got into beef with Jimmy lately. Woo. Only one is conversational. Yeah, I mean, so look, these dudes are coming to the Cosmic Summit, from what I understand. So we'll get to hear what they have to say there. Have you checked their website? They have scans of research facilities under mountains. Flatline, I heard they did that. They should, if they make a paper, they should put that in there. But I have not. I have not looked at their website yet about that stuff. They say that they've done that. Then that would be an interesting proof point. That's something I've always but I've been suggesting they do forever, for a long time anyway. And it's just like, to me also, it's like, I think I made in the comment in the tweets, like, well, the CIA is probably calling because they want to know where all the bunkers are under the Kremlin in Russia. Like, why can't you use this? Just use a 20-year-old Italian weather satellite, and you can figure out where all the underground infrastructure and and missile silos are. Why not? Can't hide now. Let's see what Mark Zuckerberg's building in Hawaii, and what fucking Peter Thiel's building in New Zealand. Let's point it at that shit. Tell the world. That'd be interesting. Currently viewing you from a Philippines prison on a smuggled phone, so I'm your superest fan of all time. Nice. Nice.
Oh dear.
Yes. Anyway, so here's the thing. Here's the end of my thoughts is that the technology does seem promising. Yes, and I've talked to some people that say it's promising. That people that know a lot more about it than I do. But I still have a problem with how, and nobody knows how you go from this stuff to this stuff, right? It's the little, the black box in betweenness of it all, you know? So, you know, I mean, but want to believe, holy shit. Do you not think I would like them to say, like, this shit's true? Like, we drilled into it, and turns out there are giant 600-meter shafts that go down to 80-meter across cubes underneath a kilometer under the pyramid, and then those tunnels, massive tunnels and subway systems that shoot off in every direction. I mean, yeah, of course, that would be great. Like, what about that's not to like? God, I'd love that to be true. I just don't think it is. It doesn't match anything that any known like styles of subterranean work that we've seen so far, which doesn't necessarily rule it out as being possible, but I just don't. I think it needs better evidence than what is there right now. That's all. I just don't think there's enough behind it to really say, well, this has to be true. Like I think a healthy dose, like you say, a healthy dose of skepticism is what's required here, and they should drill into it and look at it. I mean, I just, you know. Geothermal energy, but it's in the water table too. That's everyone thinks that things like the labyrinth and that sort of stuff. Well, it's just these big empty. It's not big empty spaces in places like that. It's literally collapsed, full of sediment, and is basically in the water. So you think of like wet dirt and wet rock, like literally water. If you scoop some rock out, it fills with water. Like, it's just, you can't dive and explore these places with endoscopes and things. Mostly they're gonna be completely collapsed. I mean, in some places you might have some voids, but in general, it's just, and if it's underwater, it's dirt. You know, it's just like wet dirt, not so much just like water. Military would confiscate that tech if it was that good. Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff, right? Jack in a box. Yeah, flatline, yeah. So that's my other problem with this, honestly, this thing, is it's like 5 million tons sitting on top of this, right? I mean, there are some of the, I mean, these, how wide are these shafts? Like, they're massive. I mean, so if this is, let's say this is 80 meters. So this has got to be at least 25 meters, like a 25 meter, 70 foot, 70 plus feet, 80 feet wide shafts, right? If this is 80 meters, then this looks like it could be as much as a third of it, or maybe, you know, call it 20 feet, whatever. That's a big span, like a 20 foot. And then, so they're beneath this pyramid, which is carved into the bedrock, like literally carved into the bedrock, where, you know, one side of it you're sitting on foundation tiles, the other side of it is all bedrock, and even the like 7 courses of it are carved up in bedrock. So you're putting an awful lot of weight on top of what must be. If these are directly beneath the pyramid, then there's 20 to 25 foot spans of how thick's the rock, but on top of these things, where do these things terminate? How do they connect to the pyramid? Like, what is it in the actual scan? What does it show? Like, it shows these weird, like, lines and all this other shit that's here, suppose, like the Great Pyramid, I guess. these arcs and these other tunnels and passages that these whatever these things supposedly connect to. I mean, it just feels like that's, you're just asking for trouble putting that much weight on top of, I don't know, how much rock is there? Possibly be waterways. Hard to see now because it's always, look, it was always that deep down. I mean, I think you'd have to go back. I mean, I suspect it would have always been part of the water table, pretty much. I mean, since it was, so millions and millions and millions of years ago, the plateau was a seabed, but, the land, geological processes happen. It's been risen up a bit, but you're talking like many millions of years ago, where that's how the limestone got there. It's full of seashells, right? But whatever, 60 million, who knows? Like a long time ago. Geological order of magnitude type shit. However, since then, I mean, I think the water table, I mean, it doesn't Simpson say that like the water table's even higher in ancient times? We don't really know, I guess. I guess maybe there have been studies to say that. However, let's just assume that water table's always been like, say, 200 feet. And right now it's about 150 feet below the surface. So let's say it's 200. I mean, 200 feet, that's 60 meters or something. 70 meters maybe, I don't know. 3 feet. Yeah, 60 meters, something like that. And you're saying these shafts are 10 times that amount? So you basically go down this far, a tenth of these shafts, and that's where the water table is or always has been. And what the hell is all this then? I mean, are you saying you get the water out and it's all waterproof? Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. Yeah, so water pockets, water tables aren't infinitely deep. They do have a top and a bottom. But you go down beneath you know where it is today. You go down the Osiris shaft, 150 feet down, and that's where the water is. And like I said, maybe it goes down at this point, at this depth. You're going down through the limestone into the igneous rock below. And yeah, it probably gets, and you go down a kilometer, I mean, I know it heats up, right? Granite doesn't wick, so it could be waterproof. Well, it could be, but you've got to somehow, if this is limestone, you're going to have to waterproof these shafts. Why would they make this up, though? What would be the purpose of that? I don't know. I mean, they've certainly gotten a lot of attention. I mean, look, I can't speak to their motivations. And I'm not saying it's made up either. Like, they clearly got these results. Like, they have the results. They have this. It's in the interpretation of the results where I'm just like, please explain. I'm not saying it's not true either. I'm skeptical at this point. I just don't have enough, at least to me, I haven't seen it. And by no means have I also done all the research that I could have done on this. I've been busy. It was one of the problems. We were in Egypt and people were like, what do you think about this? I'm like, we're running a tour. I don't have any time to like spend hours researching this stuff. And I still haven't since I've been back. But we did sit down and talk about it. So it's, like I said, but want to believe. I'd love for it to be true. I just don't. I can't get there just yet. Preserved with Cosmo line, just waiting for your revelations. And there's lots of like Francis. I mean, there's this is the problem with speculation in terms of like, well, what could this be for? It's like, how do they build the pyramids? What were the pyramids used for? What were the sites used for? What were the vases? Like, it's endless. Like, you can speculate endlessly about this stuff. It's why I tend to avoid doing that. It's because I genuinely, and even speculation that we have is we still run into that problem of, well, we're only speculating within our current sort of the bounds of our understanding of technology and science. And it's probably a healthy thing to do. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't do a lot of it because I also genuinely think that some of these answers are probably outside of our understanding, So the actual truth is yet to be discovered, or we're yet to have the context in technology and science to fully understand it. However, that sort of speculation is is needed, and it's it has to come from engineers and really people that are way smarter than I am. To Chris Dunn and etc. And you've got guys like what's his name, the Land of Chem guy, Jeff, whatever his name is, Jeffrey Drum. And he's got his theory, right? Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. And there's lots of people that are skeptical about it. But those sort of fleshed out theories and speculation, which is what it is, are good because you can then investigate. You know what I mean? You start to peel back the layers of the onion. Okay, you can test it. Does this work for this scenario? Like, is there a better way to do it? Does this actually fit the evidence that we see? And maybe it would, and this is like Chris Dunn's, power plant hypothesis too. New science comes along, and like he gets the science behind earthquake lights and this, it's not piezoelectricity, but this other, this electron flow from granite under pressure and stuff that there's NASA science that's come out in the last few years, and he's incorporated that into his theory. Like that's the benefit of this sort of speculation, in that you can start to test it, and you might find areas where we actually begin to learn something, or we have to do some research to then might uncover new domains of knowledge. It might uncover new things that we never knew and make new observations. And this is how we, I think, edge closer to the actual truth with a lot of this stuff. And this is all assuming that, my take on it, in that, a lot of these things, their purpose and their function may have been utilizing science and technology that we don't yet understand. Which is entirely possible. That's the other thing. People go, you're full of shit. You say this crap's like space. They jump straight to well, you just think it was aliens. No. I mean, it's the standard straw man tactic, right? You just think it was aliens, you crazy lunatic. So stupid. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it's entirely plausible and possible that that's the case. You just have to go back 50 years, look at our understanding of technology and science, and look at it now. All that tells you is that there are domains and entire realms of science and technology that we yet don't know about, right? It's not like we know everything, or are even close. And so if you roll all of that up into this hypothesis of a previous civilization that got fairly advanced, they may have pursued lines of investigation of science and technology that were entirely different to ours. Undoubtedly, we're more advanced in a lot of other ways. We have this electromechanical approach to problem solving, as Graham Hancock would say. But they may have had other approaches and solved problems in different ways, which is certainly possible. So that's all my perspective on that stuff. Yeah, talk about this is just a valid point. Let's see. Catching up on chat here. Do you think that even if the Egyptian authorities gave someone permission to explore the labyrinth dive, again, there's no diving on it. It's likely full of sediment. Would that be fresh water? No, it's salty groundwater from what I understand in that area of Hawara. It's just like salt's getting taken up from the limestone. Like there's so much of the halite and salt in the stone that it's this groundwater is essentially salty at that point. Just picture the meme every time. I know, right? Maybe they're pushing to get this technology recognized. You know, much it's pushed to the edges, never looked in. All the sacred geometry stuff isn't something I admit to buying into over the difficulty of cutting stone in regards to stone vessels that easily raise my eyebrows. Yeah, I mean, the sacred geometry stuff is interesting. That's more in the Malcolm Bendel realm of weirdness in terms of how it gets interpreted and used in technology. His whole plasmoid thing is all sacred geometry principles and whatnot, right? Let's put something on in the background while we yap about this, because there was also... I started laughing at, I saw some tweets about there's been some hot takes on the vases lately too. Like these lunatics that did that Elevated Thoughts podcast. They have elevated thoughts, y'all. Elevated thinking. They're smarter than all of you people. Anyway, they had this some archaeologist on. It's like fucking 800 views or something stupid, but for some reason I came across it. And boy, I put it in my Discord and I was making fun of it because it's like they said the same dumb shit. I should put it on and show you guys what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's do that just for fun. Funsies. I mean, look, and help these kids out because they don't have any views and they've been doing this for a while, and I felt kind of bad for them. This is it here. Yeah, I wrote some shit, but this was the dumbest thing. One of the dumbest things, the hottest take on this I've heard in a while.
Don't anyone tell you that because some engineer who's like shooting lasers at a Egyptian vase is a scientist, that he knows more than a humanities scholar who actually can read hieroglyphics.
So this was the point where I was like, what did you say? This is great. And look at these Muppets like staring into like these two. I mean, it's the same person almost. Look at them. Like, one's got glasses and whatever. Are they brothers? I fucking don't know. But they've got elevated thoughts, y'all. Elevated thoughts. And they're like, yeah. But this idea, like some engineer on YouTube shooting lasers at a gift, you'd think he knows more than a humanities scholar who can read hieroglyphs, because those are the same things. Who needs engineers? All you need is a humanities scholar who can read hieroglyphs. He'll build you all the bridges and skyscrapers you'll ever need. Chairs as well, for that matter. He knows it all. If he can read hieroglyphs, he knows more about it. I mean, what the fuck sort of what is the point this douchebag's trying to make here?
That he knows more than a humanities scholar who actually can read hieroglyphics.
Oh, he can read hieroglyphics. An expert in everything.
Which may not be science, but it's actually
may not be science, y'all.
What the Egyptian people were writing, right? So you can like see what they thought about stuff as opposed to what some guy on YouTube thinks about.
I do like this because it feels like they're quite mad about the vase stuff. It seems they're upset. This is Dr. Joseph Wilson, who's like a professor of everything or something. This was funny, and may not be science, but it was what the Egyptian people were. You could read what they were writing, so you can see what they think about it. As I may have explained in my multiple vase videos, we know what they said about it, and it's like these idiots that are ignoring what they said about it, like the whole fact that the alabaster industry came along, that was invented by Imhotep as a way to replicate the hardstone vases in alabaster, which prior to that they had been replicating them in pottery, and the fact that they were actually inherited heirlooms from earlier time. Like, all of this stuff comes to us from the writing, and it's only certain dorks that choose to ignore writing that they don't like, I suppose. I don't know.
This object, right?
He's an armchair engineer. Yeah, pretty much. That would be a great comment. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the humanities. He's an armchair engineer. That's actually 10 out of 10 comment. Well done, sir. Armchair engineer.
Yeah, you brought up the concentric vases from Egypt. I love that example because it's just so silly for people to go, it's better than what a modern machine can do. It's like, first of all, no, it's not even close.
Who said this? I've never said that we couldn't make them today. In fact, I pretty much say the opposite.
What a modern machine could do. And second, how easy is it to make a circle?
I love that. Oh my God. How easy is it to make a circle? This is the Flint Dibble approach to engineering in granite. It's the same thing that Flint Dibble said. You just get a stick and you do this. Right, everyone? This is, just do it with me. You do this with a stick. Perfect circle. It's so dumb.
As we're saying, like, it's like, guys, wow.
I think folks confuse that just because we don't know exactly how they did it doesn't mean that we couldn't replicate it and make it even better.
Folks confuse this. I think you're confusing it. It's like, again, this is a straight up straw man misrepresentation of what I've never said we can't do it today. We haven't done it today. I'm sure we could do it today. I don't know how many times I've fucking said that, but me, Kristan, everyone said, yeah, could we do it today? Yeah, we do micro machining. But could we do it in the 80s? Could we do it in the 60s? Could we do it at any point prior to the invention of, computer-controlled 5-axis CNC mills? Good question. Good question. Flatline, I haven't seen the interview, but I know all about Max's stuff.
Or more precise.
Flint Timble is legally retarded. Yeah, you guys are pretty funny. One of these dorks came after you on Twitter yesterday. Thread wasn't even about them or vases. Randomly popped in and called me a pseudoscientist. I don't pretend to be a normal scientist. Yeah, trust me. I mean, I'm sure they're going to clip this if they ever fucking see it. I don't really care if they do or they don't. But, I mean, it's literally like that facepalm forehead slap from Naked Gun, like the idiots. Like, how hard is it to make a circle? Let's distract from the actual arguments being made and say, well, they're saying that we couldn't make them today, but sure we could make them today. This is like an argument I've never made. I mean, some people say that shit, but I don't. And that's not even the interesting part about it. And then, like the hieroglyphs don't say some crazy shit. I mean, there's no fucking hieroglyphs on these vases. The odd name. Why is that clicking noise? Fuck off.
Today, I think the distinction is lost.
You got it 100%. In the case of those
100%.
Those vases, the main thing, and what I talk.
It's got to be this other computer.
But now, archaeology is completely different. Archaeology is science.
To a lot of other people who do this with me, so like, the buzz among the archaeologists who are paying attention to the Uncharted X stuff is that the main problem there is that the examples are all cherry picked, and most of them are on provenance.
Oh, and they've got like provenance, the little Google window come up and like big shit-eating grins on the face. Such bullshit. And this came out, I mean, obviously I hadn't watched my latest video. Shame on you boys for talking about it without actually doing the research. Yeah, on Providence, Petrie Museum. I mean, so stupid. Like, and then listen to what he says about it. And cherry picked. Like, look at Max's study.
And
we're analyzing and reporting on every single one we can get our hands on.
Provenance means that they are likely fell off the back of a truck in the 90s or the 80s, and there has been a cottage industry in archaeological forgery. Like,
not in these. You're going to make any money doing these.
That's what I am interested in, is fake artifacts that get sold on the gray market, right? Because if because looting is illegal. You can get really in big trouble if you steal something. But if you just make a perfect copy and lie and tell somebody it's the real thing. And so I'll say is that if you're using modern tools, you can still use modern tools to make a pretty good fake.
Can't remember if they said
looks
anything
like
else
the
really
old stuff,
stupid.
and it will be worth more if it's nicer. So
yeah, and I think that's they just say that it's unprovenanced, and if they ever get into vases that are provenance, they'll pay attention. So clearly they haven't been paying attention because we've done exactly that. So anyway, I haven't looked and seen if any the Uncharted X people. So there's just like crowd cheering going on here. I wonder if they're like knocking off comments. Let's see there. How many people watch this? 3,000 now. It was at 800 views a while back. Patronizing. Yes, indeed. This is the most beta podcast I've ever seen. Anyway, you guys can fuck with them in the comments if you want to. They'll probably just delete them. This is not. I mean, trust me. These dudes are like, as soon as the phone goes ding, they're reading the fucking comment. Like they got. I mean, trust me. I know what this is like. With this fewer number of subscribers, they're paying close attention to any attention they get. 10, 11,000 subscribers, but 3,000 views on this and 147 comments from 6 days ago. They're reading every comment. 100%. Anyway, I thought it was. I'm only 15 seconds in from the timestamp you linked and already regret it. Yes, I know. Anyway, I just thought it was funny. I watched. I don't know why I was watching it, because I think I was paying attention to all all of the drama that's been happening around Jimmy and Dan and all this other shit, and like Professor Dave did his video. People, Ben confirmed it. I'm not they them. You'd be amazed how many people think it's like I have a team. There's a team of me. A lot of people are like, yeah, you and your team do a great job. I'm like, thank you. And on the team's behalf, I'll say thank you too, because the team is sitting here in the chair with me. I love the freeze frame bottom left, huh? What freeze frame bottom left? Me? Yeah, so anyway, it's just I don't understand how you make those arguments. It's just it doesn't matter. It was a little bit revealing to me just to notice like how some of those arguments, like this is literally what some people still think. I guess they don't watch the videos. I don't know. Or they just don't care. I genuinely don't know how you can come away from like the last goddamn 2-hour video, if you actually watched it and was interesting. Maybe they just found it boring. I'm sure a lot of people find it really boring. But it's like I don't know, if I was going to comment on it and talk about it in a public forum, I don't know if I'd do that without actually doing some research or watch. If I'm going to talk about what this dude said about it, I'd probably want to know what that dude actually said about it. Unless the intent is just to misrepresent what I said about it. Because I don't say any of those things that they, like this idea that we can't make them today is not my central argument. It's not even an argument I make. Like I don't know where they get that from. I mean, I know other people have said that, but I don't say that. And they're talking about me specifically. So, whatever. Can someone make a granite copy? Tell us how much it would cost. So Adam Young has done this. He has actually had a stone, I mean, a real simple one, no lug handles, and I talk about it in the video. And it's like 6-7 times less accurate than the ancient example. And it was they used a CNC, like a 5-axis CNC mill to make it. And they try to make it to the scan, and it's just not as accurate as the ancient example is. So, Team Ben. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, how easy is it to make a circle? Like, I just draw one on a piece of paper with a compass. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same, for the same reason that I talk about that there's no point in trying to discuss these things with guys like Flint Dibble, because they're never going to take the time to try and understand the engineering aspects of these things. Right? I get it. And there's guys like that, and these kids with their podcast don't understand it either, obviously. Like, they don't know what it takes. And it's an oversimplification of the various aspects of precision in these vases too, right? Literally the idea that it's a concentric circle is probably the most basic attribute that we talk about. Like, it's a good, it's not, I kind of got into it in that last video, but it's one that I want to hammer home a bit more clearly, and certainly in the writing that I'm doing, I will be, because I think you can break down the precision, the remarkable precision of these things into a bunch of different categories, right? So it's not just how round they are. Like, it's roundness and concentricity is one thing. Consistency is another, like up and down. Wall thickness is another. Like the geometric relationship, like the geometric accuracy from different parts of the vases to each other is another element. Like this, how centered it is another aspect of it. How flat the tops and bottoms are, how balanced it is, how symmetrical it is. Like, these are all different aspects of precision. But the one that they think they can explain, like Flint Dibble and these jamokes, they think they can explain it with, like, oh, how hard is it to make a circle with you get a stick and you just turn it in a circle, or you get put a radius on a stick and you do this and that's a circle. They just pick on that one because it's like they think they can explain it with this dumbass explanation. And even though it doesn't hold any water, they just have no method or no ability to even approach any of the other things. Okay, how do you get down to a 2mm wall thickness in granite or in diorite with large crystal inclusions, let alone 1/40th of an inch, which is what Petrie documented? How do you maintain geometric accuracy in the foot of the vase to the top of the vase, that kind of thing? They just don't have any. They probably don't understand that metric in terms of precision, how difficult that is, and they certainly couldn't explain it with any of these primitive, methods that they claim we use to make it, which is the whole basis for the burden of proof argument, right? Which is like, well, if you think you know how it was made, then the burden of proof's on you to make it. And Olga Vidovina, to her credit, although there's much vitriol and hate that went into the effort, which is their words, not mine, we've seen the results of that. And Max Zamolov analyzed the handmade granite diorite vases that she made along with the ancient ones, and they're terrible, right? They're exactly what you would expect. And even though they cheated and they used modern tools and techniques to make them, it's still terrible. So anyway, this is what it comes down to, right? Is these sort of commentaries. Yeah. You missed that, no surprise. Catching up on the chat. Let me put this back on. Bit of the old $50 Dynasty. That's all I can play on here because I'm on YouTube too. So AI will figure out how they made the vases. I can't even buy that. Did I see Matt Bell's? I haven't. No, I got the question before. I have not seen Matt's interview with Max, but I mean, I know Max. I know what he's been working on lately. Flint Dibler is either wildly incompetent or an amoral liar. Yep. Certainly in the engineering fields, incompetence not the right. I mean, I guess if you're going to talk about it like you're an expert, then incompetence the right word. But I would say more just uninformed. Doesn't know. I mean, just not an engineer, and it's not his fault. It's that's archaeologists aren't generally engineers. Now the amoral liar part, you'd have to go to talk to other people. Like there's a whole bunch of people that are accusing him of that. I don't want to play in those fields and those games. I'm actually, look, to be honest, my perspective on all of the bitching that's going on at the moment. I mean, if you guys are paying attention to the Twitter beefs and the back and forth videos and reaction content and blah, 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 blah. It's just, I just find it distasteful, all of it. That's about all I've got to say about it. Yeah. I just won't be playing in those patches. I'm going to stay in my lane, do my thing. Willful ignorance. Yeah, willful. I think there's certainly willful ignorance going on. Yes, I think you're right. I would. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a lot. I think like guys like Flint Dibble are never gonna want to, and have no interest in really actually understanding the true achievements represented by some of this stonework. Like from an engineer. This is why engineers get it. Like it's so simple to me. Like it's why engineers and machinists and tool makers and technical people get it. They do understand it, and they immediately grasp the complexity and the significance of what they're seeing. And it's you have to have some knowledge in those fields to truly do that. And I think Flint, at a level somewhere in his head, probably knows that it's significant. I mean, if I'm sure he's seen enough engineers talk about it. But he also knows that if acknowledging any of that, this is why, look, it's the same motivation why the spiral groove on Petrie's Core number 7 has never been admitted to, for 150 fucking years. It's because there's a tacit acknowledgement that they understand what it would mean. Like just acknowledging the one thing, it's like that's the first domino, like in a lot of ways. Like it's one of those significant dominoes. It's like, all right, now you admit this, you can't, it knocks down all these other things by inference. So I don't, I can understand why there's some willful ignorance going on, because it's some of these very simple, provable, demonstrable aspects of stonework are to some extent pretty shattering to these worldviews that are being held onto very tightly and defended rigorously by guys like Flint. And, So yeah, willful ignorance is an easier path than trying to actually engage on a technical level and explain them, which is what, this happens from time to time. You get the papers that come out and say, oh, it's just a horizontal groove, or you get Robert Morse Jr., or you get, Dennis Stocks and Mark Lehner trying to put out documentaries showing how this was done by grinding, and then, you just dig into it a little bit and you find out how nonsensical it is. But that's the, that's them trying to engage with it, at least to explain it technically. And again, I think there's a small amount of dishonesty going on there in terms of, preconceived notions of what these experiments should show. It's like when Dennis Stocks snaps off that core and goes, that could be fourth, Mark Lehner, that could be fourth dynasty. You never get a look at it. There's no good pictures of it. The story that Chris Dunn told about him just walking away when he was asked, does your core look anything like this core, which was Petrie's core? And he just turns around and walks away and just pretends it never happened. That's, again, there's a degree of willful ignorance in that. Even at that level, you're trying to engage technically. And Robert Morse Jr.'s paper on stone cutting and trying to explain the striations and saw marks, I think that may have been a bit more of an honest attempt, but it's also comes from a place of complete, just academic attempt. There's nothing practical about it. The problems with that. This is Robert Morse Jr.'s, how Egyptians cut stone paper, but it's, he comes up with this rate that's hundreds of times faster than the rate that we can cut stone today. Same thing with Engelbreit and trying to figure out how long it would take to pound stone around the obelisk to get it out of the quarry. His rate was ridiculous. They're trying to work backwards from the answer. We know it was done in 9 months, so we just have to fit the answer into this 9-month thing, and that's the answer. And then the fact that it doesn't bear any resemblance to reality is not considered, let's say. Yeah. So, oh yeah, I'm back on Forbidden Frontier this Sunday, guys. Yes, Uncharted. Let's see. Okay. How long have we been at this? Nearly 2 hours. Right, well, I wanted to get back and let's see if there's anything cool here I wanted to share in terms of images from the trip. There were many. I do have some really good recordings from Aberrawa. I need to put them together because I recorded the audio as well. I didn't actually take a whole lot of images during the Egypt tour. I was busy guiding. Plus, I pretty much captured a lot of these places a lot of times. And then Kyle and Russ they definitely filmed a bunch, and I'm going to get all of their content. Angle the stone, then begin to tube drill hole. Yeah, I know, right? Have I moved yet? No, I haven't. No, I've just. I haven't had time. I literally have been overseas for 2 months. There's that shiny finish and the pointy elbows on the backs of some of these statues. Oh, I did finally figure out what Yusuf was saying. About the statues on and precision. The Nemes. I think I even have that on video somewhere. I'll have to go back and look at it. So we've had this disagreement, which I thought was a disagreement for years, about the precision statues at Luxor. Which ones were precise and which ones weren't, and then the features that you can maybe assign to that based on the different crowns and the different types of things they have on them. So, but I finally figured out what he was saying. Like I had been misunderstanding him for a couple of years, and I finally worked it out. So that was good. But that's a whole other topic. It's like a deep thing. Just join. Have you covered the spirals under the pyramids supposedly shown in the scans? Yes, we talked about that bit. Yeah, but you can back up and watch it. Love to go to Egypt with you soon before I get too old to walk 15 miles in one day. Well, we never walk 15 miles in one day. I do tend to go every year to Egypt. Certainly that's been the case since 2020. So I guess it's been... No, I took 22 or 23 off, I think. Although I might have still gone for the primordial. I know I skipped my tour one year. I just didn't want to do it. Yeah, I go every year to... Pretty much going every year to Egypt. I'm going in December. So we've got back... Let's see, Peru and Bolivia are in October, November. So if you don't know, if you're not a patron... on Patreon YouTube channel memberships, like I put these tours out, and I'm going to send an email out to the other patrons too, but before I make them public. But we sold out a whole tour in Peru. We put on another one because people were on the wait list. And we've nearly sold out 2 tours just purely from like early access patrons and supporters. I haven't put the Peru-Bolivia thing out publicly yet, but I will soon. But then in December, and this isn't available yet either because we haven't put the page together yet, but December I'll do Useless Primordial Tour, and then I suspect something like February next year will be the next Uncharted X Egypt tour with the Snake Bros and the big, the big annual one we do. So that's the timing for that. LX Dead, thank you for the thanks. And do I plan to visit the Barabar Caves in India? Yes, I do. I don't know when, but I would like to. You've got to rough it out there, from what I understand. You got to go like camp and stuff, but that's fine. I got no problem with that. Have I checked out Megalith Mania's videos about Tomb of the Birds? Supposedly that's where it connects to the tunnels underneath the Khafra Pyramid. I know about the Tombs of the Birds. I haven't seen the video specifically. Again, I've kind of been really busy just with this travel. I really haven't had the opportunity or the chance to do a lot of work and research. I'm trying to get back into it now, so I am really trying to get some videos out. I'm working on, like I said, this podcast video, and then I'm going to do the Karnak live stream video again. I'm just going to change the audio and re-upload it as a regular video, like a walk and talk. And then I've got 2 or 3 others that I'm working on. I'm just trying to crack on and get all that done, Yeah, American Josh, bro, it's a good time. You'll be fine if you come with us. Trust me, the people have a good time on our tours. That's why we get seriously, Turkey this year almost entirely made up of people who were returning from previous tours. With like 3 or 4 people that I'd never met before on that tour. Everybody else was someone who had traveled with us before, and we get a lot of that. And I think that's the best endorsement you can get, when people have such a good time that they want to do it again. So you'd love to join. You're too fat? I don't know. You have to be pretty fat to be too fat. I'm pretty fat. And we've had some people bigger than me on the tours, and they've been okay. We don't walk that much. Like, there's definitely one day, like at Giza, it's like probably 6-7 hours you're on your feet, but it's not like we're walking 10 miles. The Peru stuff, we will have a couple of hike days, but there's alternatives for people that don't want to do the longer hikes. But in Egypt, it's not that difficult. I mean, the hardest part's like in the pyramids and stuff, and then you don't have to do those. Yeah, Rel said it. Yeah. Saw that on the Andrew Collins video. Yeah. That's good. I mean, like the SARS technology, scanning things like Osiris Shaft and other mines and stuff. If they've done that, that's great. And I'll have to look at the website and check it out, as long as it's not all in Italian. Like, where's that clip? I need to play it now.
Uncharted is Uncharted.
The film, it's in Italian. It's an Italian!
As long as the website's not in Italian. Vases, etc. Best of luck with every project. Thank you, bro. The walking distance, I'm not getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger either. Yeah, it's not too bad. Like I said, Egypt, the hardest day is probably the first day at Giza because, like I said, we're on our feet. But there's plenty of opportunities to sit on stuff and just to take a rest. And yes, the Osiris shaft is a... Oldest attendee this trip was turning 80. Yep, and I know on one of the primordial trips we had a guy who was like 94. He was amazing, and he did the whole thing. I've had lots of people in their 80s, in their 70s. But the first day is like, 6-7 hours. And again, you don't have to do all of it. Most of the other days, you're on your feet for a bit in the museums and stuff. But museums often have benches you can sit down and rest. And we're not usually in museums for more than like 2-3 hours. Usually we're off to like fly or something like that after that. So, what did you think about them closing the Sphinx entry gate? Have they fully closed it? I mean, Yusuf was paying attention, so I think it's probably like, yeah, they really fucked it up at Giza. From what I understand, they've made this new entrance and they're busing people over to the plateau now. So they're stopping letting the big buses go on there on their own, I think. And it's just a clusterfuck from what I understand. Like, it's just terrible. People, big long lines, people cramming onto buses. It's, angsty. I don't know if they've fully closed the Sphinx entrance gate. I'll talk to Yusuf about it. He literally lives there. Put it this way, we will never subject our people on tours to it. Never. If that means that we have to do a private entrance to the Giza Plateau, the whole thing, then we'll do that. Like, I'm never going to put people through this bullshit that they've put in play. And Yusuf thinks that the outcry and the pushback on the way they're doing stuff now will be so intense that they'll have to stop and go back to the way it was. We'll see, but I guarantee you that there's no way on our tours that we will be making people do anything like the public entrances now. We'll go early. We'll just do a private entrance and we'll get the bus in there. We'll do it the same way we've always done it. We'll walk up through the traditional method of going to the Valley Temple and then walking up the causeway to the pyramids and then walking around the pyramids. I'll never put people through that bullshit that they're putting on to the basically public entrance now. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, I think they're completely screwing the pooch with this. But put it as I said, we've already talked about it. Me and Yusuf are like, we'll never do it. Like, if all it will mean is we'll just do we'll do a Giza Plateau private, which you can kind of do on your own now anyway because they open that thing at like 7:30 in the morning. But if it means we go at 5 o'clock in the morning, that's fine. We'll do that because it's totally worth it. Like, it's a once in a lifetime type of thing for people, and I just won't put people through that sort of an ordeal on a tour. Like, it's actually quite terrible. And even the comments from Egyptians, like in Arabic, like Yusuf watching the shit unfold on Facebook. There's lots of posts from like the Egyptians, and it's just Arabic comment, and he's just they're saying things like, "Is this how we treat our guests now?" Like, there's a lot of people that are really upset that the guests to the country. So a lot of people are very proud of Egypt and they want people to have a good time there. Certainly the guys that I work with are like that. The most important thing for them is for people to leave Egypt with a positive mindset and experience. And there's a lot of people that are just upset about how badly people are being now treated by this new system on the Giza Plateau. So, anyway, we won't do it. It's just the way it is. So, all right, y'all. I know this wasn't been a couple of hours. Been good to catch up, that's for sure. Why are you not focusing properly? Focus. There we go. Thank you all for hanging out for a little while. I've enjoyed it, and we're only getting started here. So I am going to be at home. I've got a conference to go to. Not this weekend. I think next weekend, the 10th or something at the Bay. If anyone's in the Bay Area and they want to come see me speak, I'm at the New Living Expo conference. I make no excuses or explanations for all of the other topics and the other people that are speaking at this conference. It is wildly crystal woo-woo how to get over, past life trauma and tune your chakras to the crystal spirits type of conference. But I'm talking at it, and I'm talking about ancient precision and all of that sort of stuff. So that's New Living Expo, I think is what it's called, next weekend. Then I got the Cosmic Summit coming up in June. We also have the Vase event. Remember, I'm going to put that out again on social media pretty soon, like the Vase event in New York City. We're doing a Vase night, and we're doing a visit to the Met. So, yeah, if you're in the neighborhood for any of that stuff, come and check it out. Garrett, Dragonese, Garrett? I think he passed away. I'm pretty sure I saw that on Facebook. I think he's actually passed away, unfortunately. Garrett with the white hair. Yes. Sorry to leave the stream on a downer there, but I believe, at least according to Facebook, he has wested. But yeah, that's what's happening. Otherwise, Mark, happy to help you out on the chat with a stream. I'm easing myself back into it. I will be streaming some more. I need to do some more mundane editing and things like that. And once I get all of Kyle's, like all of the cool shit they shot, and then the drone stuff and the diving stuff, then we'll do a bit more of a review stream, and we'll go through and label everything and get it all sorted out basically, and filed away. So otherwise, you guys take it easy, and we'll catch you in the next one. Hopefully, I'll stream again in a few days here. Miss Chuck CF Apps. Yes, I do as well. Talked about him. And we'll probably dedicate a video to him here in the near future because we got out to Sogmatar. That's the other thing we did. We did go on a long hike at Sogmatar and got to all of the satellite temples for the planets and stuff out there, which was pretty epic, actually. The footage, I didn't show you any of that, but the footage is pretty cool. And we got some really cool drone stuff from there too. So, all right, y'all. GG's. We'll catch you in the next one. Stay tuned to the channels and to the Discord. I will announce when I'm streaming next, but I assume it'll be in a couple of days here. So, all right. Bye-bye, everybody.